Hi, third, fourth, and fifth grade leaders. We are getting ready for January 6th. And thank you so much for leading. Happy New Year. We had a great Christmas season together. I heard from several parents that they were so thankful that we taught the same story over and over and over again because they felt like their kids, for the very first time, were able to really understand the story enough to be able to tell other people about it. So you guys made that happen. Thank you so much for trusting us and teaching God's Word faithfully. We are going to start a series called God Can Do Anything. I know we know that, but a lot of times we need reminders, and we're going to get those reminders from the life of Joseph, and then we're going to begin to understand the life of Moses and what God had in store for Moses. And through all of this, we want kids to know that God keeps his promises. And because he keeps his promises, he works things out according to his plan and his purposes. That he had a plan for Joseph because Joseph was Rachel's firstborn son. He was the favored one. He was treasured by his dad, Jacob. He was given special privileges over his other brothers. Of course, his brothers were not going to like that. Of course, his dad was going to favor him because that was Rachel's firstborn. You know, this crazy story, God knew from the very beginning. So many of your kids live in this exact same situation, and they are going to relate to Joseph in a completely different way because now we understand that God had a plan. God had a plan when Jacob married Leah and married Rachel. God had a plan to save Jacob and his family, that he needed Joseph to be the one that was sent out so that all the other brothers and everybody else could be taken care of. And I think this story helps me see that God's plan and God's provision is so much bigger than any of us will ever have a picture of. Like, my brain is just blown thinking of all of the details God worked out from the very, I may just cry, just be warned. From the very beginning of time to the point of Jesus being born, Jesus dying on the cross, raising in 3 days, so that he could have a way to rescue us. And he had all of these things happen in the meantime to prove to the Israelites, as he continues to do today, and us, the Gentiles, that he is who he says he is. He is faithful, he is true, he is more than we can ever imagine or even picture. So as you can tell, I'm a little excited about teaching this story, but I really feel like our kids are going to relate to this story like they haven't related to anything ever before, because they so much understand what it's like to live in one of these families. So your social activity, your kids will have some papers on their table that look like this. And what they're supposed to do, and many of them may have tried some of these before in school. I know there's some teachers that like to use things like this. And what they're supposed to do is guess what the abbreviation is. So like this one says 13L in a BD. What do you think that stands for? I'll give you a hint. And then I'll also tell you that the answer key is attached to your leader guide if you need help figuring out all of these as well. So that's 13 loaves in a baker's dozen, or 13 cookies in a baker's dozen. And then you'll continue to go down the line and see if kids can figure out what this is. These puzzles are meant to be a little challenging for the kids, because what I want them to see is that sometimes we need help to figure out how to do things, or we need different ways to figure out how to do things. And that is why God gave us the Bible, is so that we can learn about his character. That's why God helped us build the church, so that we could be around people who are continuing, who want to learn and grow and figure out who God is, so that we can also go out into the world and tell each other about who Jesus is. So, sometimes we all need to be stuck in a tough situation, just like Joseph, so that we can figure out who God is and who his character is and trust in his character, because sometimes we are not going to be the one that rescues ourselves. All right, so crazy, I know, but really, I think that by giving the kids small experiences where they have to get a little frustrated, it gives us great talking points. All right. Then your small group activity, you have some paper. And if I need to get you some more paper so that you can actually do it like the instructions say, you can do that. Or you can just lay out the paper on your table and give kids a different corner of the paper, or you can draw out a big line and separate it like it's a comic strip, so that kids can illustrate the different parts of their story together. And then what you're going to do is give them different things that they can talk through and to figure out how they're going to illustrate that as they build their comic strip, essentially. All right, and then your memory verse activity. You have your memory verse in your folder. It is this one. The one on the back of it is something that I'm going to try to be using during large group as I'm teaching, and this is a big picture question. And this just helps us focus on what we're learning for the whole series. And our big picture question is there anything God cannot do? And God can do all things according to his character or his plans and his purpose. All right, so your memory verse activity, you have another piece of paper like this that's in a plastic sleeve in your folder, and it's called Stand Up. In your guide, it says the crazy stand up categories list. It's the exact same thing. So what you're going to do is pick a couple different categories each time you're with your kids, and you're going to get the kids who had pancakes for breakfast this morning to stand up, and all of those kids are going to recite the memory verse together. And you can do this a couple different times. You could even have them do it a couple different ways, standing on one foot, one eye closed, however you want to do that, just to make it fun for the kids. And then you will pray and dismiss. I want to invite you guys to come be a part of our leader huddle at the end of the month. If you've never made it to one of those, this is the one to make it to. All of them are good, and I highly recommend you coming as regularly as you can. It's not a have to, but this one I really would like everyone to be there. There's some things that we need to go over as a team, and I feel like it would be better for us to do it all together at once. We will have the best food in town. Vita cooks an amazing meal for us, and we'll be doing that again. We will have activities for your kids to participate in and play with our paid childcare team, and they will eat lunch. And then we will play some games as we learn some of the things that we need to be doing as a team to make sure that we're creating safe, welcoming environments. And we can't have games without prizes, so there will be prizes for the winners of those games, or possibly just different kind of prizes based on the kind of games we play. So you want to come to that one for sure. Just let me know you're coming so that we can make sure we have enough food to feed everyone. Thank you so much for leading and loving kids and helping them build a relationship that's going to help them become a stronger disciple.